Hey, thanks Joel, and welcome to our conversation about the 5 T's. Just like Joel said, we're going to go into, in a little deeper way, some theological themes that we see in Scripture of how God has utilized wilderness to impact, transform, and train His people. So what I'd like to do right now is just take a moment. I want you to just take notice of your own breathing. Feel your heartbeat. What are the sounds around you right now? Are there birds chirping? Is the wind blowing? Is it raining outside? Picture the flow of a river. Picture the sunrise and the sunset. What about waves crashing onto the ocean, onto the beach, and retracting and crashing again? See these rhythms that we find in creation. God can utilize those things to teach us truths from His Word. And we see similar realities in Scripture, many patterns and rituals and rhythms. And we think about God's establishment of the Sabbath and all of its cycles of 7, and we see meals, and we see God's teaching us about His faithfulness through the seasons and through, this hope that we have of when the fruit comes. Even in the life of Jesus, we see a simple yet profound pattern of life. And I'd like to take you to Luke 5 and point out what we see here. Jesus had just called His first disciples and just healed a man with leprosy, which no doubt would have attracted a crowd. And that's exactly what's going on here. And He just had told this man not to tell anyone what was going on. And this is what Luke 5, starting in verse 14, it says, and Jesus ordered him, "Don't tell anyone, but go, show yourself to the priests and offer sacrifices, and Moses had commanded for your cleansing as a testimony to them." Yet the news about him spread all the more, so that the crowds of people came to hear him and get healed of their sicknesses. But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. I want you to catch something. We catch a glimpse of Jesus' rhythm and His pattern of life here in verse 16. It says, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." This is not an isolated incident. We see this time and time again. I actually challenge you to just take a slow walk through the Gospels and point out every single time, write it down even, at the time that you see Jesus taking a step back from His work and ministry and teaching and healing to go be alone with the Father. And often these places, take notice of where they are, in lonely, quiet places out in God's creation. Jesus, who being God in the flesh, found it necessary and needed to go and be alone with the Father. I mean, we think about the places that He chose to go, places that no one was around but Him, alone with creation, up on a mountainside to be alone with the Father. This is profound. And that He made it a discipline, a habit, a routine in His life. And it's also important to know and notice that He would often take His disciples with Him, teaching them how to go and make it a regular part of their life to be alone with the Father in these places. A healthy rhythm of ministry should take after Jesus' example of resting and retreating, and then making His way back into the city to teach and train and heal and work with people in the community. When you think about the Hebrew calendar, the day starts with sunset, or the week begins with Sabbath, that we start and begin out of rest, and so we can go strong into life and strong into ministry, out of our place of being alone with the Father, which fills our cup, and we can take that full cup into a community of people and pour it out for those that we serve. Imagine what it could mean for your life, for those you serve, and your ministry if we all took Jesus's rhythm of life and ministry seriously. and implemented that into those things. I would encourage you to go to your workbook and check out some of the questions that we have there and some of the examples, and you can see more examples of Jesus doing that as we follow this theme of tempo throughout all of Scripture. Thank you.